Hello guys, Dr. Prostitute here. It's been ages since I last made my top 5 hardest bosses in IS, a video that I actually appreciated to do a lot. So today I wanted to offer you something similar and give you my top 5 hardest emergency stages in IS. Emergency stages can be a nightmare when tackling them and your team comp is lacking an important piece, and it's actually not rare to lose to more emergency missions than bosses, so I think they are as, if not more important to know than actual bosses. In this video, I will only be mentioning what I personally think is the hardest emergency mission for each IS with their meta at the time, mixing IS 1 and 2 together since IS 2 basically copied all IS 1 stages. Without further ado, let's start. IS 1 and 2. Emergency Baron's Cadets / Unending. I initially thought the Poison stage or the Running Bully stage would be the most difficult one until I remembered this one. Back when I played IS 1 and discovered IS 2, I'm pretty sure Baron's Cadets and Unending are the emergency stages that ended most of my runs. And there are good reasons for that. The stage needs some tanky operators or binders or long duration slowers to prevent getting one-shotted by the Sarkaz Lancers. Basically, the best operator that could save us from this stage was Suzerain, an operator that I don't use in my niche. Sure, the devices can help you a bit in this stage, but they will only get you so far, and without a lot of tankiness and reliable healing, you were pretty much sure to lose around 7 or 8 HP on this map. Definitely terrifying in a lot of configurations and somewhat still kinda dangerous today. IS 3. There were two contenders for IS 3. The first one was Ubi Bona Somnia, a gimmicky yet very dangerous stage if you weren't able to kill the Origin Mutant Alpha on the right, since this would almost guarantee 10 leaks. However, as I said, it's a gimmicky stage, and multiple stuns or tankiness could take them out. But do you know what's worse than 2 Origin Mutant Alpha? 6 Origin Mutant Alphas that somehow attack faster, plus 8 that attack from afar. And that's exactly what you get in Emergency Out of Control. No gimmick here, just pure terror of what Arknights is honestly the hardest to counter and what it can offer. Enormous stat stakes and damage. The Bone Throwers in the stage can easily decimate your whole team if you're not careful, and the possessed leaders are seemingly unstoppable. If that wasn't enough, there are also Freezing Spiders and a grand total of 52 enemies on this map, truly a hellish one. IS 4. I know what you're expecting. Man-made Carnival, right? Well, actually, in my opinion, there are 2 even worse stages than Man-made Carnival, particularly since this one was added with expansion 2, meaning we had Ella at the time, who honestly made this stage much more bearable by slowing several enemies. The other 2 stages I will mention are even more terrifying than Man-made Carnival to me. The first one is Instinct Contamination, an extremely dangerous stage that doesn't feature a wide variety of enemies, but it has 10 shattered champions that will come extremely fast at you. Fortunately, Redalter, who was one of the best IS 4 unit, was an extremely powerful response to this stage, triggering chain damage and healing that both dealt damage with the champions and healed your defending operators. However, Reed was not enough for what is in my opinion the hardest emergency mission in IS 4, March of the Dead. I rarely see this stage discussed, and I'm like, did we even play the same game? It's pretty easy. If you didn't have a nest to reveal the top enemies, you were dead. If you couldn't deploy your healers and defenders for the bottom lane on time to tank the mortars, you were dead. If you played the stage right, you were still dead because the gargoyles and Mudra Colossi were absolutely unkillable. Looking back, I don't even think I've done this stage even once without losing HP. It was simply that bad. Now we reach IS 5, and my pick will surprise a lot of people. I think you guys are definitely thinking about stuff like Chaos, Losing Merc, Regular Army, or Heavenly Paradise. Well, actually I'd pick none of these, and here's my reasoning. IS 5 is completely broken. You can easily get some completely stupid shit with it thanks to the lamp, and even the hardest stages like the ones I mentioned suddenly become doable when you have all your King's collectibles and coin toy. Even Heavenly Paradise, a run-ending stage, actually becomes a joke once you have a Whistle, Golden Glow, or Lapland with 1 billion attack speed. But here's the catch with this strategy. When you are at the beginning of the run, you have absolutely none of that. You are weak, have no damage, no tankiness, no operator, and no life point or shield. Even worse, maybe no plan to reroll a potentially very dangerous stage. So instead of trying to find some difficult floor 4, 5 or 6 maps, what if we looked into earlier stages? A stage that could specifically remove only a handful of life points, but which would be enough to end your run. Enter what I consider to be the hardest emergency mission in IS-5, Emergency Cast Falls. Cast Falls is certainly one of the stages of all time. It's a stage that requires blocking because whoops, never mind, the holy automatons will simply delete your blockers. Okay, then it's a stage that requires healing because nah, the explosion of the necrosis origin mutants excrescence will simply one-shot them. Okay, then it's a stage where I simply deploy my ranged units to kill enemies. Maybe? No can do, they'll simply get stunned anyway.
Floor 2 stage, by the way.
Listen, I don't know. I don't know how to handle this stage and I'm not ashamed to admit it. You can reroll it for sure, that's an option. But tackling it head front? I don't know. I don't know. It's a stage that has one gimmick. It's those origin mutants that explode if you kill them and you can't do anything. But it's an extremely powerful gimmick that can easily destroy you when not prepared specifically for this stage. Although, when it comes to strong gimmicks, I think it's time. I think it's time to leave IS-5 and finally enter modern Arknights. I think it's time we abandon Casdale and go meet the Suis. Indeed, I think it's time we finally go to IS-6 to finally encounter our last difficult stage, a stage that terrifies me. I think it's time to go tread this dangerous territory. I think it's time to go beyond Mountain Sea. Beyond Mountain Sea was added with expansion 1 in IS-6 and it's a gimmick stage. What's the gimmick, you may ask?
Death!
Okay, joke aside, this stage has enemies that will rush to the blue box on the left directly from the red box. These enemies are Ling event enemies, meaning you can die in a matter of seconds if you're not careful. What you're supposed to do is use those cars that spawn naturally and from the statue guys, then wait for them to go as much to the right as possible to give you as much space to kill them, which is still incredibly difficult to do even with operators like Ascalon. It's an unbelievably difficult stage and it's the reason why getting a reroll Tongbao, End of Times, or even getting Ascalon as the first specialist before Exusia Alter is actually a good idea now. The sheer amount of clears with leaks on YouTube is proof enough of what I'm saying, so if you really want to tackle this stage, all I can say is good luck. And there we go guys, this was my top 5 most difficult emergency missions in IS. Feel free to tell me your own in the comments, leave a like, subscribe, and see you in the next video.